Ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to you or good afternoon to you from whatever part of the world you're listening in from. You're probably wondering why you haven't heard from us over the last week or the last 2 weeks. Well, it's because we've been very blessed and we were able to take a very nice holiday in Kenya. It was really good. Now, we got back to Seychelles just before the outbreak of the COVID-19, which has sent everybody just feeling very fearful, apprehensive, etc., etc., etc. I always think at this time, the most important thing is to keep a very clear head. Now, I love these types of quotes because it just reminds us that there's always, like every cloud has a silver lining. From the beginning of time, people have had challenges. Mankind has only developed through getting past challenges. The thing to keep in mind is this is also a time when people do have to come together and help each other. It doesn't take 2 minutes to make a phone call to a client or even to a friend or a family member that you probably haven't spoken to in ages, just to make sure that they're all right and they're still keeping the faith. And it's the strong mindset that will get us through the apprehension and all the rest of the fear, shall we say, that actually surrounds us everywhere we look. You know, you only have to look at your WhatsApp messages or Facebook or wherever it is you get your news from. And also make sure you're getting the best stuff that you possibly can in this time. Only ever listen to the experts. So helping each other along is really important. And what I will say on this as well is don't be too proud to accept help. It's actually a sign of strength to show a weakness. And that's something I think as a nation we're actually very bad at. We're just a little bit too proud, but you can only grow through showing a weakness. We're all human beings and we're all vulnerable. In the past, if you think about getting past challenges, I'm sure you'll know who this chap is. Thomas Edison and the incandescent light bulb. But did you know that in order to get this light bulb to market and to get everybody to accept it, he had to fit it free in hundreds of offices in America? Fancy that, the light bulb. Today we take it for granted. We throw the switch and it comes on. In fact, our very own Christophe Delaware actually introduced us to many different types of light bulbs, absolute expert on lighting, and he's taken lighting to the next level. But it all wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for Thomas Edison. Well, you know, to coin a phrase, we would absolutely all be in the dark. So he pushed on and we've all benefited from it. But if I keep on sharing those American success stories with you, you might think, well, that's so far away. So I'd like to come a little bit closer to home. And I only know a little bit of this story, so if other people know more than I do, I invite you to please send an email to dizzyentrepreneur7@gmail.com. Now, as I understand it, around the time that we had a lot of civil unrest, people were getting stopped, both Seychellois tourists, and they were being asked for ID in the middle of the night. And it's, you know, the people that would ask them were basically guards or soldiers with AK-47s around their shoulder. Now, it's hardly a welcoming message that conveys the Seychelles of the 70s, which was the island of love and happiness and joy. Naturally, people on their way back, when they were asked about Seychelles, oh yes, beautiful place, lovely beaches, great weather, but certain experience I've had I really don't want to have again. And before you knew it, the tourists just dwindled, and then the airlines pulled out because there were no tourists to bring. But us Seychellois thought, right, okay, what are we going to do? Well, there you are. We started an airline. In fact, we started our very own airline, Air Seychelles. And this plane went, there were 2 planes, as I remember it, and it went all over the world. One of the funny things is I remember on the plane you could actually buy a little model of the plane. And I remember a friend bought one, and we just jokingly over a drink, we said, it's funny, I've got one, you've got the other one, so we got the whole fleet. But that is actually getting past an adversity we had to go and get the tourists and bring them here to survive. So we found a way to make it work. Not Thomas Edison, Henry Ford. It was around that time though, you know, when you see these things in black and white, you know they're old. He made the first car that was affordable for the American public. But what a lot of people don't know is that he locked his mechanics in the workshop, and he said, you're not going to come out of there until you've cast all these cylinders from a single block, because that was the thing that actually made the car work. It was the central unit, and it had to happen. And he was quite, from the stories that I heard, he was actually quite a rough guy. He was like an oily mechanic, but he made it happen, and now you've got Fords all over the world. So that was the story of Henry Ford getting past an adversity. This is actually one of my favorite ones, the International School on Parley. All I could actually find was this kind of mosaic picture. Now, this story, as I understand, started off with a husband and wife having an argument. And the argument was, I want to school my kid, because there wasn't an international school on Parley. And the wife said, well, if there isn't one, I'm going to take my child to Mauritius. And even if I have to go and live there, and I'll just come back here like once every 3 months or whatever, I'll do it. And the husband said, look, come on, there's a way around this. There is a way around it. So they rallied a few parents together, and they put some money together, and they did quite well. Then they wrote a letter to the then head of the international school on Mahe, and in his own words he said, I received the letter, it was quite late, and I plucked it out and thought, I need to do something with this. Whereas maybe somebody else would say, oh no, we can't do that, we've got too much on. He actually took it out and said, I'll bring it up at the next board meeting. So they did that. And to cut long story short, the whole plan came together. The contractor, in fact, as I understand, even contributed towards building the school. So everybody contributed a lot, which actually reminds me of a saying. And the saying is, when you're truly committed, the universe conspires to help you in ways that you could never imagine possible, including the provision of financial help. And that was a classic example of what happened. They pushed to the nth degree and they got past a challenge, and that's how it came to be. So next time you actually drive by there, or maybe you might have a child that goes to the school, you'll understand more. Now, what's happening now? Where are the opportunities? People have to work from home. It's not a choice. Some of us have been working from home probably for the last year and telling other people, come on, let's put stuff on servers and let's be able to access. No, we don't want to do that. I mean, come on, we're a little island. We just drive 10 minutes. We get what? There you go. Now we've got to a point, prepared or unprepared, it's almost become law. Whether we like it or not, you have to do it. But one of the things as well you need to make sure is that you're not distracted. I think this is what they could call something like lockdown. So there you go. But it happens. Here's another one that you're all too familiar with. How many times have you gone to the bank and you've seen big queues? Knowing full well that in 2020 we've got the facilities to bank online, transfer money into any account anywhere in the world. It takes about 2 or 3 seconds. So why don't we make the bank clerk's life easier by using the online facilities that they've provided us with as much as we can? In England, they actually taught the older people how to do it and then just reduced the staff. So I don't doubt that now when they're saying, you know, try and cut down on queues, self-isolation and all that type of thing, it's going to happen more and more and more by default. Another one closer to home is really my own story. I wanted to find a way of being able to give out hints, tips about sales, psychology of sales, marketing, human behavior, all those types of things that's actually going to help people to be successful. And it's not just about building a successful business, it's about mindset and understanding how human beings actually behave and how they do stuff, which will improve the relationships that you have, and in every sense of the word. And there you are. Pure FM, they were quite happy to come on board. Financial Fridays, it's on between 8 and 8:30 every Friday. So we do tend to practice what we preach. I can't say do this and do that and not do it myself. So we do tend to practice what we preach. I love this quote again. The Japanese crisis, what is it? It's danger and it's opportunity, and it's important that you actually understand this. This is not about milking a situation, as sometimes, you know, unfortunately people take advantage of that. It's not about that at all. What it's about is doing everything that you possibly can do so that when the curtain comes up, in other words, when this COVID-19 is over and done, you're going to have the best opportunity to recover. Because don't forget, everyone's going to be in the same boat. Everyone's going to be suffering. So the more you can do during this time, let's just say downtime, because there's nothing else we can do, the better position we're going to be in when the curtain comes up. And it's always the way. Which brings me to this. Now, while we were in Kenya, we visited a lot of people. The Kenyans are absolutely amazing people. This chap was selling these little animals, and they were all made out of rubber that they found on the beach and things like that. They actually made little toys that they could sell, which was great. And we also visited Toastmasters. Now, Toastmasters is a worldwide organization. These people were telling me that as part of their jobs, they all had to sell things, and a lot of them had to sell services. I authored a program called The Spirit of Sales, which I'm almost ashamed to say has been on my hard drive probably for the last 15 years. You can't do everything at the same time, so now I've just come to this juncture where it's actually quite easy to polish it up and put it online. A lot of it will be free. You'll be able to learn a lot of stuff from it, and hopefully it'll be stuff that you can apply. Some of it will be paid for. The content, I will warn you, is dynamite. You know, you use that content and it will get you results. It's helped me get past a few sticky points. So enjoy the content, really, is what I'd say. But that's another thing in the last 2 weeks that I've spent a lot of time with, having to polish it up so that I can put it online. And you'll see within the next, probably about the next 10 days or so, I'd say the next 10-15 days, you'll see some videos. There'll be some free videos that you can click on and you can learn some more. So it's about doing something during this downtime. And I would like to end this video in the words of Michael Jackson. Apart from saying keep safe, I would also say keep the faith. Have fun.